Sycamore Court, Part 1. Quiet Hours. When my wife and I told our real estate agent we were looking for a quiet place to raise a family, she leaned in close and gave us a sympathetic nod. But the second we mentioned our budget, she burst out laughing, so hard she nearly fell out of her chair. Kara and I just looked at each other. Did we say something wrong? "Oh, I'm sorry," the agent said, sitting up and catching her breath. "You're serious?" "Yeah," I said, a little defensive. "My wife's pregnancy's been complicated and she may not be able to work for a while after the baby comes." The agent sighed and looked out the window like she was watching the last shred of hope float away. "For that amount, the best you're gonna get around here is a cardboard box, utilities not included." "When's the baby due again?" she added. "Any day now," Kara said with a tired smile. She looked like she was in pain. I squeezed her hand. We just wanted a new beginning, something stable to bring our daughter into the world, but it felt like everything was working against us. Maybe the agent saw that, or maybe she just wanted us out of her office. Either way, she pulled out an old, dusty binder from a filing cabinet and flicked it open. At first, I thought I was misreading the listings. There were multiple homes, all in the same neighborhood, priced well within our range. "What's the catch?" Kara asked, arms folded over her belly. I nudged her gently. We weren't really in a position to be picky, but she had a point. We couldn't afford to move into a sketchy area with a newborn. "Why don't you take a look for yourselves?" the agent offered. "Take a drive, see if you like it." The place was called Sycamore Court. It wasn't exactly out of a storybook, but it wasn't run down either. Older houses, modest yards, kind of cozy in a forgotten way. Definitely quiet. 3 houses were for sale on the block. Plenty of options. Still, Kara didn't seem convinced. We went back to visit several times at different hours of the day. Morning, noon, dusk, nothing seemed off. No screaming neighbors, no traffic. The only odd thing we noticed was a sign nailed to a dead tree at the entrance of the cul-de-sac. Sycamore Court. Quiet hours. 8 p.m. to 10 a.m. It faced inward toward the residence, not the street. 14 hours of silence? Kara whispered. "That's a little much." "At least there's no HOA, I joked. "I checked. No college ragers, no yappy dogs keeping the baby up." She nodded, but I could tell the sign still bothered her. Even on moving day, she kept glancing at it. "Does it really bug you that much?" I asked, sweat dripping as I hauled boxes. Kara leaned her head on my shoulder. "It just feels weird. Maybe I'm just hormonal. I don't know. I'm ready for this baby to be out." Before I could respond, a cheerful voice rang out. "Hey there, neighbor!" A man with jug ears, a plaid shirt, and a shiny bald head walked over holding a plate of cookies. "Mickey Holstetter, welcome to Sycamore Court." We thanked him and made small talk. Mickey told us not to expect many other neighbors to stop by. "Why not?" I asked. He gave a shrug. "People come and go. Just me and Miss Crabtree left, really." "Miss Crabtree?" Kara asked. "She's halfway down the street. Her and about 20 cats," Mickey laughed. "More cats than people these days." As we settled in, I started noticing just how busy Mickey kept himself. Waxing his boat, polishing his roof tiles, cleaning gutters. The guy's place gleamed. "He seems kind of lonely," I said one evening as we sat on the porch with lemonade. Kara nodded. "You should have asked him about the sign." "Next time," I said. That night, at exactly 8 p.m., the neighborhood changed. A man working on his classic car unplugged his radio mid-song and carefully put his tools away. No noise, no clatter. A mom on the corner scooped up her kids and muted the TV with one swift motion. Our nearest neighbor abandoned his lawnmower, leaving the job 1/3 done, and pushed it into the garage. Before shutting the door, he placed foam strips underneath to block out sound. All down the street, the sounds of normal life vanished like someone had flipped a switch. No TVs, no voices, not even birds chirping. "I guess they take quiet hours seriously," I muttered. But my voice felt swallowed by the stillness. Beside me, Kara clutched her belly. "I think," she began, then collapsed. Blood soaked her dress. I didn't think, I just moved. We bolted to the car and sped to the hospital, nearly plowing over 2 stray cats on the way out of the cul-de-sac. That night, the first we were supposed to spend in our new home, we spent in the ER instead. The next week was a blur. Doctors, insurance, and long nights of waiting. Tess, our daughter, was alive, but her condition was fragile. Kara, too. We forgot all about the sign, about Sycamore Court. When we finally brought Tess and Kara home, something had changed. The strange quiet hours sign was gone. In its place, a beat-up orange sofa, a cornhole set, a boombox, and 5 sunburned frat bros shouting over a football game. Greek letters hung from the front porch. Our new neighbors were fraternity. After helping Kara into bed, I sat on the porch to see how this would play out. Just like before, Mickey showed up with baked goods. The frat guys gave him a beer, but didn't really listen. Mickey kept pointing at his bare wrist, miming a watch, but the party rolled on. By 2 a.m., the bass was shaking our windows. I peeked out like a grumpy old man. "Harry, Harry, Harry," they were chanting. A shirtless Adonis did a keg stand on the porch until he puked midair and nearly cracked his head open. Before he could hit the ground, a massive guy with thick glasses caught him and laid him gently on the sofa. "Theo, Theo, Theo!" The crowd roared. It was chaotic and loud and deeply annoying, but I had to admit, Theo had quick reflexes. The next day, silent. And the next, still no noise. That's when 2 nervous frat guys came knocking on my door. They held up a photo. 2 smiling guys at a football game. "Have you seen either of these 2, Harry and Theo?" I stared. I said, "They were here, the party, but I haven't seen them since." They nodded, clearly worried. "They've been missing since the party. If you hear anything, I'll let you know." I lied. I had bigger problems. A newborn who refused to sleep, a wife still recovering, and a growing sense that something wasn't right. But it wasn't until Kara brought up the cats that I started to really worry. Sycamore Court, Part 2, The Cats. It was just after dinner when Kara looked up from the porch swing and asked, "Have you met Harry and Theo?" I blinked. "What?" "The cats," she said, nudging her chin toward the 2 little kittens curled up beneath the swing. "They've been hanging out here all afternoon." One was lean and sandy-colored, with golden tufts around his ears. The tag on his collar read, "Harry." The other was a puffball, rounder, with thick fur and dark markings near his eyes, almost like glasses. I didn't need to check his tag. I already knew it would say, Theo. "That's dark," Kara murmured. I stared at the 2 cats and felt a chill crawl up my spine. "No way, that's not possible." Before either of us could react, 3 larger cats stalked out from beneath the neighbor's fence. Big ones too, like they'd been eating well. They surrounded Harry and Theo like bullies on a playground. The tension was sudden and sharp. Growls vibrated through the air. I stood up to shoo them away, but they scattered first, slipping into shadows like they were never there. Tess stirred and began to cry. The sound snapped us out of the moment, and we hurried back inside, locking the door behind us. After all, it was almost 8 p.m. A few days later, the frat house was empty again. The Greek letters were gone, so was the orange couch. The quiet hours sign had mysteriously returned to its original post. It was like nothing had ever happened. Except something had. Our house was filled with the cries of Tess, who seemed to have inherited her lungs from a Broadway soprano. The girl could scream. Everyone had warned us what life with a newborn was like, but knowing and living it were two different things. The exhaustion, the confusion, the rawness of it all. And now we had a new problem. Something was waking her up at night. Every time I finally drifted off, she'd jerk awake crying again. Maybe it was just the usual newborn stuff, but every time I checked, I thought I saw something shift outside the window. A shadow, a flicker, a movement I couldn't explain. I told myself it was the sleep deprivation, and I even looked into getting a baby monitor. But then, late one night, there was a knock at the door. Well, more like a tap, a soft tapping. Not even enough to wake the baby, but enough to freeze me in place. Someone was on the porch. I wasn't used to seeing or hearing anyone after 8 p.m. anymore. That tapping cut through me. I grabbed the baseball bat from the umbrella stand and crept to the door. It was Mickey Hulstetter. His wide, friendly eyes looked more frantic than usual. "Hey, neighbor. Mickey, it's late. Shh. You need to let me in. We need to talk." Against my better judgment, I opened the door and let him inside. But he didn't sit down. He kept pacing, glancing at every window like someone might be watching. "You gotta shut that kid up." I stared at him. "Excuse me? You saw what happened to those college boys. You want that to happen to you?" My grip on the bat tightened. "Are you threatening me?" No, I'm trying to help. I shouldn't even be here. If she finds out..." "Who?" I asked. Mickey opened his mouth, then closed it again. He looked sick with fear. "I don't care what you have to do. Soundproof the room. Move her to the basement. I don't care. Just keep her quiet." And then he was gone.
"Who was that?" Kara called from upstairs. "Just Mickey," I said, still holding the bat like it was the only thing keeping me grounded. I turned to the peephole, just in time to watch Mickey head back down the street. But something was wrong. He wasn't alone. A trail of cats followed him, dozens of them, slipping through yards, hugging the shadows, silent, intent. By the 4th street light, they were on his heels. He never made it to the 6th. The next day, it wasn't Mickey dropping off cookies, it was the cops. Again. They went door to door asking questions, but when I pressed them, they bristled. "People go missing all the time," one officer said, eyes flat. "But this is the 3rd disappearance on this street in a month," I argued. "A statistical anomaly has to happen somewhere," the cop shot back. When I didn't let it go, he leaned in and added, "Don't make yourself part of the investigation, sir." Upstairs, Tess wailed. I let it drop. It took some convincing, but I got Kara to agree to move Tess's cradle into the basement, farther from the windows, farther from the noise-sensitive street. I volunteered to sleep down there too, to keep an eye on her. Still, Kara hated it. "I feel like a prisoner in my own home, like we're being punished and we don't even know what for." We kept arguing about the rules, about the cats, about the quiet hours, about the things we didn't dare name. But deep down, I think we knew something was watching us, and it didn't care that we were tired, or confused, or scared. Every night, I stood outside on the silent street, feeling like I was somewhere I didn't belong, somewhere I shouldn't even be. And every night, no matter how deep in the basement Tess slept, I could still hear her cries. Not loud, but just enough. Just enough to break curfew. I guess it was only a matter of time. Kara was in the kitchen. I was downstairs changing Tess's diaper. It must have been close to midnight when I heard her voice. "Honey, come here." I'd never heard her sound like that, terrified. I rushed upstairs. She was frozen by the window, staring outside. It took my eyes a moment to adjust. That's when I saw it. Something was leaving Miss Crabtree's porch and heading toward our door. It wasn't just a person. It was wrong. The way it moved, like a puppet on strings, jerky, unnatural. It didn't mock. It just stood there, waiting. When I shifted to get a better look, its head snapped toward me, quick, precise. I couldn't breathe. I yanked open the door, baseball bat in hand. And there it was, tall, hunched, wrapped in a dusty shawl and oversized clothes. Its face, if you could call it that, was a crooked mask of a smiling grandmother, painted like something from a low-budget Halloween store. Its gloved hands clutched an old mechanical voice box, the kind used in vintage animatronics. It tilted its head and bowed stiffly. "Hello, neighbor," it rasped. "Miss Crabtree?" I said. "You make a lot of noise, neighbor. Cries, cries, cries." "She's a baby. That's what babies do." The thing's head jerked to the side. "Make it stop, or I will." That was it. I raised the bat and heard Kara scream.
Sycamore Court, Part 3, The Final Silence. I forgot everything. Forgot the creepy puppet thing on my porch. Forgot the fear in my chest. The only thing I could think of was Tess and that scream from the basement. I sprinted downstairs so fast I nearly tripped on the last few steps. Tess was wailing. The narrow window near the ceiling was flapping open. Kara was in the corner, clutching the side of the crib, her face pale as paper. The crib was empty, except for a few drops of blood on the white bedsheet. Then I saw it. A massive cat, far bigger than any stray I'd ever seen, was crouched near the window, its jaws clamped around the back of my daughter's neck. It was trying to leap out. "No!" I roared. I swung the bat with everything I had. The beast darted through the window just in time, but it dropped Tess on the way out. She hit the floor with a soft thud and began to scream harder than ever. We didn't wait. We grabbed her, wrapped her in blankets, and drove straight to the hospital. For the second time in less than a month, our first night back home ended in fluorescent lights, buzzing intercoms, and the scent of disinfectant. The doctors ran tests, stitched her up. She had a few scratches, nothing serious. A nurse told us they'd check her blood work and follow up, but we could go home if we wanted. We didn't. We packed a bag and left town instead. I don't have a satisfying ending to this story. No neat explanation. No moment where the curtains pulled back and it all suddenly makes sense. We sold the house on Sycamore Court at a loss. Moved into a cramped basement apartment halfway across the state. It's dark, smells like mildew, and is way too far from my job. But we sleep at night. That's more than I could say before. Sometimes I lie awake thinking about what happened, about Mickey Holstetter, about Harry and Theo, about Miss Crabtree, if that's even what she really was, and about the cats. There were always more of them than made sense. Always watching, always silent. I don't know if they were pets, or sentinels, or something worse. I just know I don't want to see another one ever again. Even now, I think about the weird things we ignored. The stuff that should have told us to leave while we still could. The sign, the silent 14 hours, the people rushing indoors like a switch had flipped. We wanted peace, a new beginning, a quiet place to raise a family. We got what we asked for, but sometimes, quiet isn't peaceful. Sometimes quiet is hiding something. Something alive. Something listening. Sometimes the silence is louder than any scream. In Sycamore Court, that place listens.
So if you ever find yourself house hunting and someone hands you a binder with perfect little homes all priced too good to be true, walk away. And if you ever find yourself driving down a dead-end street with a sign that says quiet hours 8 p.m. to 10 a.m., turn around. Don't wait until it's too late. Because you can soundproof a basement, but you can't silence a nightmare.